Aloha and welcome to the Murph's Place 808 for the Love of Golf podcast. I'm your host, Murph. Well, folks, another week has gone by. Man, the time is just flying. It just seems like these weeks are just going by at a record pace. It's just unreal. Christmas is almost here. And it doesn't seem that long ago that it was like October. But anyhow, I hope everybody's had a great week out there this week. Of course, it's hard not to have a great week here in Hawaii where the weather is always nice. It was a little warm today, though. We played golf today for the Beach Boys, and it was a little warm out there today. Of course, our update on the Fia Championship belt match. Joe P, for another record-setting 10th week, remains the Fia champ, holding the coveted belt. He won it by 5 strokes today, or Sunday, sorry. Won it by 5 strokes. He shot 1 under, and then the next closest was 274s by a couple of guys, and I ended up shooting 76, I believe. We even brought in a special player to try to take that belt from him. It was funny. John had a bet with him, $20 to $100. If Joe retained the belt, he kept $100. And if he lost it, he had to pay John $20. Well, he kept the belt. And John even tried to make deals with guys that were playing in the match that whoever won it, he was going to give the money to, the $100 to, or the $80, because he would have lost 20 to Joe, or he would have won 20 from Joe. So yeah, no, Joe retained it. We couldn't get it from him again. The guy is just really, really good. One of these days, we're going to get it. He can't keep it forever. It's impossible. There's going to be a day when he's off and somebody else is going to be on, and we're going to get that belt from him. But anyhow, congrats, Joe P. Well-deserved. You are one of the better players on the island, so well-deserved. Congrats. Today we had Beach Boys golf, and it was a good day. We have a spring match play tournament and a fall match play tournament. So in the spring, everybody's in the tournament. We have an A flight and a B flight. Obviously, the A flight are the lower handicap players, and the B flight are the higher handicap players. So the spring, we have a tournament, and then the winner of the spring tournament plays the winner of the fall match play tournament for the club championship. So Alex Lee won the spring match play championship, and I end up having to play him in the club championship today. It's handicap, so I had to end up giving him 8. I think it was a 1 today, and he was a 9. So I had to end up giving him 8 strokes, although he ended up getting 9 because when we originally started playing, I thought that I was playing as a 0, but I found out later that I was a 1. So anyhow, I ended up winning that match 7-5, and the club championship for 2020 for the Beach Boys. So get a little gold coin. It's not actually gold, but gold plated. It's a really nice coin. It's got our logo on it, and then on the back it has Club Champion Beach Boys Golf Club in the year of 2020. So that was pretty cool. And we also have a tournament that we play called the Memorial Cup, and that's played. It could be 1 month it might be low net, or it may be another month it may be low gross. But then each winner of that month for that tournament plays for the main championship and gets a silver coin similar to this coin. It's got our club logo on it, and so it's pretty cool. It's fun playing for that. And also there was a little cash incentive also. Got a couple $100 for winning the match play championship, so that was cool. Something that I told you guys last week that I was having some issues with my putting, and I kind of still am, but it was a lot better today. And I have been putting a little bit better the last few days. But another thing that I've been working on, I told you guys that I was going to start going back to my old ways where I would read Golf Magazine and Golf Digest, and look at the tips and the playing lessons that they have in there, and go out and work on that stuff. I picked up I was watching YouTube the other day, because that's all I watch anymore is YouTube and Netflix. But I was watching YouTube, and I saw this thing about hitting it longer and straighter. And, some of the stuff is kind of gimmicky stuff and that kind of stuff. But this one, it was kind of a simple little fix. And if you want to go on YouTube and check it out, just type in there, hitting it longer and straighter. And there's this guy, his name is Steve. And basically all it is, it's pretty simple. You get your grip on the club, you get your setup with your grip. And then as you take your stance, you bump your left hip towards the target a little bit and flex your right knee in a little bit. And that will set you up for a little shallower path on your swing, and a little more from inside to out, which is the proper swing that you want to hit with the driver, and on plane, hitting it on the upswing. And he's claiming you can get like 10, 15, 20 yards more from your drives. So I've been trying to do that, and the guys have been saying that I've been hitting it better, and I have been hitting it. I have been hitting it a little bit better. There's a couple times that it didn't come out the way I wanted it to, but it's something that you got to keep remember to do when you go through your setup of your pre-shot routine, that you're physically thinking about doing that. So, but it seems to have worked for me a little bit. I suggest you guys take a look at it and see if it can work for you if you need to gain a little more yardage from your driver. And it's only for the driver, because obviously you want you want to have that tilt for that upward swing on the ball for the driver. Obviously, you don't want that on your irons. If you do that setup with your irons, you're going to end up hitting more fat shots than anything. So, but something you could try. Check it out on YouTube. Like I said, I started looking at it. I saw it last week, and I started doing it this week, and seemed to be hitting the ball pretty good, a little bit better than what I had been in the past. And some of the guys, like I said, have been commenting that I'm hitting it better also. Now, they didn't know I was doing that, but anyhow, take a look at it and see if it helps you out. Okay, so let's talk about the PGA. Obviously, got a couple of weeks off, obviously, for the Christmas time season. So there's no tournaments going on after this past week. They had the QBE shootout or something like that they played. So the next tournament is going to be the Century Tournament of Champions, which is held over here on Maui at the Kapalua plantation course. It used to be the first tournament of the PGA season, but since they started this wraparound season, the season actually starts in October now. But it used to be the Century was the very first tournament. And that tournament obviously is for the winners of the previous year's tournaments. All the winners are invited to play in it. Then they leave Maui, and that's in January. January, I believe it's 7th through the 10th. And then they come over to Oahu for the Sony Open in Hawaii, which used to be the first full field tournament of the season. That's going to be played here January 14th through the 17th. I got an email from one of the chairs of the committees asking about working it. Obviously, I'm not going to work it because I'll be working my other job, but no fans this year. There's not going to be any spectators, which is going to be kind of weird. It would be kind of interesting to work it just to see what that's like with no spectators. Now, I believe, I don't know for a fact, but I'm pretty sure that players like coaches and family are able to be there because they're always around each other anyhow. So, but we'll see. I mean, there's been a lot of big names that have come through at the playing in the Sony Open. I mean, we've had Justin Thomas, Charles Howell III's always here, Colin Morikawa. That was he's one of my favorite players, and it was cool seeing him here last year. Matt Kuchar, he's even won it. Justin Thomas, Ian Poulter, Zach Johnson. You got a pretty cool story. The year Zach Johnson won it, I can't remember exactly what year that was, but it was when I was still coming over and visiting and caddying in the Sony Open Pro-Ams. And my buddy Robbie and I flew back to Ohio, and we went to the airport. We were going to the airport here in Hawaii to fly back, And when we walked in, Zach Johnson was there with his wife and their son. And I remember sitting on the floor playing with little Matchbox cars with his son, and talking to Zach and congratulating him on his win at the Sony. He's a really nice guy. It was awesome to sit there and talk to him. So, some of those guys. I got a story. I'll tell you a story about one of the pros. But let's take a short break real quick, and we'll be right back. All right, welcome back, everybody. I was telling you. Hey guys, I got to tell you, if you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me tell you how. It's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Not only that, but Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many other sites. You can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. That's ANCHOR.FM. A couple stories here about the PGA guys, things that I've kind of run in with them. I remember the one year at the Sony, we just got done caddying. My buddy Ski and I were sitting along the bench on the side of the pro shop, and the players, they're right there. I mean, it's really accessible, especially over in Hawaii. So there wasn't hardly anybody around. And one of the players comes walking by, and I don't want to say his name, but he's a pretty well-known player. He walks by. As he walks by, we say hi and say his name. And as he walks by us, he just keeps walking. He looks over at us and just had this look on his face like, why are you talking to me? And then turned, like he was continually walking, turned back face forward where he was going and just kept going. Never said a word to us. And so I just thought, why would you be like that? I mean, I understand if it's during the tournament and people are trying to talk to you and you're concentrating on trying to win a tournament, that's one thing. But it was done. It was a practice round or one of the pro-ams, and there was like I said, there was hardly anybody around, and they weren't playing golf. He was walking back over to the hotel or to the place where the bar and stuff is across the street there. But I just thought to myself, why would you have that type of attitude? I mean, you don't want to be like that with your fans. You don't want to get that. And he does have that. He does have that reputation as being that type of person, which is really sad. Because if I was in that position, I mean, I would go out of my way. I mean, he didn't even have to go out of his way. All he had to do was say hi. I mean, that's all we said. We didn't even get up. We were just sitting on the bench there when he walked by and just said, hey. And he just looked at us like we were, like, I don't know, like beneath him, like he couldn't even talk to us, which I thought was really, I mean, it was disheartening because, as a golfer, you kind of look up to those guys and want to emulate some of the stuff that they do. But I could tell you, I wouldn't want to emulate his attitude at all because it just wasn't right. But anyhow, I've had a lot of good times, met a lot of great people. Met Will Smith one year there. He was great. Met Roger Clemens. I met Adam Sandler, Kevin James. I mean, and they're all great. And it's weird because, like I said, it's Hawaii, so it's a little more laid back. Obviously, during the tournament, you can't get, you're not going to go up to them and talk to them or distract them while they're trying to win a tournament. But even afterward, just hanging around, they walk by, a couple of them would stop and talk to you and take pictures or sign stuff for you or whatever. It's really an awesome place to watch a tournament. And then a couple of people have always asked, oh, has Tiger Woods ever been there? You don't want Tiger Woods to come there. The reason being, not that people don't want to see him play or wouldn't want to see him play. It's just that the venue is not big enough. The type of the amount of people that he's going to draw, it would be impossible to logistically handle all those people at Waialae Country Club. It's just not big enough. But it would be cool if he did come over and play it. But we get asked all the time, is Tiger coming over? Is Tiger coming? Has Tiger ever played here? But no, he doesn't play in it. Speaking of attitudes and being somewhat of a jerk, I did get an email, a question. This comes from John. He wants to know, how can I tell someone they are violating a rule of golf without sounding like an a-hole? That's a good question, because I know a lot of the rules. I don't know every rule, but I know where to find it and I know how to look it up. And so I get asked a lot by people about rules. You know, is this a rule? Is this violating a rule or whatever? Or even they may not ask. And one of the common ones, I play with some guys that when their ball is on the green and I'm behind their ball and I need to putt, if I ask them to move it one way or the other, obviously the proper way is they would mark their ball with their coin and then they would move the coin. But a couple of them, and I don't really care because we're just playing, and it's not, you know, I'm not that big of a jerk that I would try to call a penalty on them, because we're just playing. It's not a tournament. But what I do is I tell them, hey, just to let you know, and that's how I do it. I go, hey, just to let you know. What they do is they just take their putter and they place it against their ball, one putter length, and then they put the mark there at the other end of the putter. And then they pick their ball up. That is a violation of the rules. You cannot do that. You have to mark your ball first and then move your mark. But I don't tell them in a jerk way or an a-hole way. I just say, hey, just to let you know, that's improper. That would be a penalty if you do that. You know, somebody else may call a penalty on you for doing that. You need to mark your ball first and then move it. So you could tell them, John, use it like a teaching moment and not so much of, hey, you can't do that. That's a violation of the rule. That's that's 2 strokes or whatever. I mean, obviously if it's a tournament, that's one thing, or not, that's totally different. But if you're just out playing with your friends or even in club play, I mean, there's guys that don't know all the rules for club play. And with the rules changes that we just recently had, there's a couple of them that you would think is an actual USGA rules change, but it's a local rule. Like the one about hitting your ball OB, you have a couple different options. You can re-tee it and hit it again, or if you're hitting it from the fairway and you hit an OB somewhere, you can replay that shot from the same spot. Or to save time for pace of play, you can go up to where it went out and within 2 club lengths, drop no closer to the hole, drop a ball and take 2 strokes, meaning stroke and distance, because by the rules, it is stroke and distance. It's not just like a lateral hazard is just 1 stroke. So when you hit an OB, it's stroke and distance. So you would be hitting 1 in, 1 OB, 2 out for stroke, 3 for distance, and you'd actually be hitting number 4. Well, there was a couple of guys that thought that you can take your ball and go out to the fairway and drop, taking 2 strokes. Well, you can if that's a local rule. If your club, like the Beach Boys Club, our club, we adopted that rule. If you hit it OB or you think it went OB, you can either tee up another ball or go up and drop in the fairway, taking 2 strokes. But that's a local rule. And there were some people that thought that was a rule change by the USGA, that was just a regular rule change. It's not. That rule has to be implemented by your club. So, but there's a way to tell people without being a jerk about it. And I just use them as teaching moments, like, to tell them, hey, not only that, we were playing last weekend. And so I had saw a video on like the 8 most common rule infractions that the amateur player usually makes. And so just it was more of a joke type thing, that after we got done like finishing putting out on a green, there was nobody behind us. The group behind us was slower than us, so they were back. So I would say, okay, rules clinic, come on over here. And then I would go through a different types of scenarios for rules just to let them know, because some guys know, some guys don't. So just use it, John, just use it as a teaching moment. You don't have to do it in a way that would kind of degrade the person. They may not know. You may know it, but they may not know it. So just use it as a teaching moment. And remember, not everybody knows all the rules. Okay, if you guys have any other questions or topics you want me to talk about, just send me an email at murphsplace808@gmail.com, and we'll get those on the air and talk about them. All right, so let's take a short break, and we'll be right back. This podcast is brought to you by Smart Boy Studios, the best studio and artist collective out of Ohio. Smart Boy Studios provides recording, mixing, and mastering services, as well as any other audio post-production you need. Smart Boy entertainment artists Corey Gossett and JV Tree have a new EP out on November 20th, 5-Day Friends. The 6-song project explores the fun and friendly energy that these two artists have on a track together. With production from D. Swove, Vesta, and Ash Matthews, you can't help but to bob your head, tap your foot, and sing along to the stellar set of tracks. Head to www.smartboystudios.com to stay up to date on new music, new videos, and any upcoming events. If you'd like to support Smart Boy Studios and their artists, visit threads.smartboystudios.com to check out their merch. They offer hoodies, hats, shirts, and more. All right, welcome back, everybody. Hey, just a quick shout out to my NFC champions, Green Bay Packers. My team won their division, so congrats to them. I haven't watched a whole lot of NFL football, and unfortunately haven't watched a lot of college football either, because this past weekend my Buckeyes missed one of their biggest games of the season, and that's against that team from up north, because they had COVID, so they canceled the game. So I didn't get to see my Buckeyes whip up on the Wolverines again this year. So maybe that's a good thing for them. But okay, so I got to tell you guys, so when my son was here visiting, it's been a few months ago. Actually, it's been since June, Father's Day. Anyhow, he was here, and obviously I watch a lot of YouTube and videos and Netflix. So he was like, "Oh, you gotta download TikTok." And I said, "What's TikTok?" And he said, "Oh, they got all these videos. People post all kinds of different videos." So now I've been addicted to TikTok. I don't know how long. And there's some pretty cool golf trick ones on there too. Guys doing trick shots with golf stuff. And so those are cool, and I like a lot of the dance ones, even though I can't dance like that. I still like them. But one of the funniest ones I have seen is a guy called Jason Banks Comedy. And I never laugh so hard in my life. If you guys have TikTok, or if you don't, you should download it and look for Jason Banks Comedy. He is hilarious. The skits he does. He plays all the parts too, and it's just funny. He is hilarious. I never laughed so hard in my life. But anyhow, with that, I'm going to get out of here. If you guys have any questions, comments, topics you want to talk about, shoot me a text or shoot me an email at murphsplace808@gmail.com. You can also go to the Anchor website and leave me a voice message on that. There's a place there to leave a voice message. Thank you for the subscribers that have subscribed to my podcast, helping it to continue to putting out content. And if you'd like to subscribe or help support the podcast, there is a link for that also on the website. So with that being said, I am going to get up out of here. I hope everybody has a great week. Hopefully it's not too cold where you're at, where you can still play golf. If it is still too cold, hey, work on that stuff we talked about when I interviewed my brother who lives in Toledo, Ohio. In the wintertime, work on some physical stuff and maybe find an indoor range or maybe even a simulator where you can keep swinging the club and staying in some type of golf shape, getting ready for next season. And for those of you living, obviously, out in the warmer states where you still can play, like here in Hawaii where we can play every day, if you are playing, I hope you hit them straight, hit them long, and try not to hit them very often. We will see you guys next week. Aloha, everybody.